Volkswagen might have the perfect minivan right here. And even though it's labeled the California, it's not coming to America. Instead, we get the ID.Buzz, the fully electric minivan, start around $60,000. Can't wait to test it. I really enjoy testing minivans regardless of the propulsion system. I'm just a minivan freak. I have, for long-term loaner, the 2025 Honda Odyssey. Check out my 1 month ownership impressions on it. But I've been asking for years, and no one's making it, at least in the States, for an all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid minivan. The Pacifica has a plug-in hybrid. I drove it, not impressed with the refinement of the system, and it is very expensive. Now, maybe you can find a cheap used one, but I just don't trust the electronics on it. Toyota Sienna is very expensive, hard to get, very low supply compared to the demand, and it's a good minivan. It's just become very small on the inside. It's not as practical what the Sienna used to be, the new Sienna, even though it gets crazy fuel economy. I got up to 47 miles per gallon. All-wheel drive minivan. Well, Volkswagen has it, and it's a plug-in hybrid, and they just hit it out of the ballpark. Well, we have electric range now because of the larger battery of 90 kilometers. Well, 90 kilometers. If I just put 90 times 0.62, 55 miles. But we got to convert from one standard of fuel economy to ours, so divide that. It's probably about 50 miles, upper 40s of fully electric range. I can't really think of many plug-in hybrids in America that go much past 40, let alone close to 50 miles of electric range. Volvos do the low to mid 40s. RAV4 Prime is kind of in the low 40s or mid 40s, if I remember. Now we have a minivan here from Volkswagen, sliding door luxury life, or glamping life if you're a glamper, but it's sliding doors are a lifesaver for families. 50 miles of electric range in the Multivan and the California. Now, why won't we get these? I'm not sure. My guess is that this is even on the commercial vehicle press page for Volkswagen. So these might be labeled as commercial vehicles. And if they're labeled as commercial vehicles, then they might get hit with the 25% import tax here in America. So that would be my guess why we wouldn't be able to get it. But let's keep moving. Starting at over 70,000 euros, it does seem very, very expensive. If we were to see it here in the United States, it would be nice to see it priced at what the ID.Buzz is starting off, around 60,000. Of course, the lower the better. 60,000 is still a boatload for a minivan, but it would have, here's the thing, the ID.Buzz, great minivan, at least from what I've heard, but you don't have, you're going to have range anxiety if you take it on a road trip. And a family having range anxiety on a road trip is something I never want to ever have to deal with. So that's why a plug-in hybrid would be amazing. Fully electric for your city driving. 99% of your driving is going to be in city as a family, for at least for me. All right. And then when we go to Disney or we take a road trip, it would be nice to have that little gasoline engine and a fuel tank to just operate as a normal hybrid. And this does that. So 3 efficient drive sources. The plug-in hybrid drive in the Multivan in California is a completely new system of a second-generation eHybrid. You have an efficient 1.5 turbo. That is the gasoline engine in here, obviously. 177 PS, so it's around 175 horsepower here just from the engine. Then you have an electric motor in the front of 85 kilowatts, which is probably around a little over 110 horsepower. And then you have an electric drive motor in the back as well. To get the power to the wheels in the front, at least, engine connected to electric motor, then connected to the 6-speed DSG. I prefer it to be an eCVT. They're simpler. They're more reliable. Toyota's plug-in hybrid, you're never going to have any issues with the transmission because there essentially is no transmission on the power split device. Volkswagen here opting to go with a more expensive 6-speed DSG, which again makes me worry about reliability. I'm not saying it's an unreliable, I just don't know, but it's not as simple as what could be. It's not as cheap as what could be. So that's the thing, like Toyota has the technology here to make a minivan just like this. They just haven't, and I hope they will, because the chances of us getting this Volkswagen in America are slim to none. The electric motor in the rear for all-wheel drive is 100 kilowatts, so around 135 horsepower here. So we have a maximum horsepower output of around 247 horsepower, something like that. And then 350 newton meters of torque, which is about 258 pound-feet of torque. The battery is almost 20 kilowatt hours, and it's twice as big as a previous plug-in hybrid battery. Now, it also sits underneath the front seat. It is liquid cooled. This van can run in pure rear wheel drive. It can run in pure front wheel drive. It can disconnect that rear axle on highway drives because both motors are permanent magnet. So they have to be constantly fed electricity. And so luckily there's a decoupling mechanism on the rear motor to make it more efficient. You can charge it, the battery pack at 11 kilowatts right now, which is really fast for AC charging. You can also DC fast charge it up to 50 kilowatts, up to 65 kilometers per hour, which I'm guessing is around 40 miles per hour. The rear electric drive motor is activated to provide all-wheel drive starting assistance, depending on the temperature. The electric rear axle drive can also be used when the battery is empty. You can force it in a full-time all-wheel drive in the sport mode, which I think is pretty cool. It'd be a lot of fun to drive like that, but it's obviously for low traction conditions. It can drive on fully electric up to 130 kilometers per hour. So I would say that's somewhere around 70 miles an hour. Actually, no, it's actually as high as 80 miles an hour. That's pretty cool. But it says in hybrid mode, it has a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, which is 124 miles an hour. Important for the Autobahn, but in the United States, it would be interesting and fun to drive it at that sort of speed. I wonder how long it would take to get there. You can also use the air conditioning here in stationary mode. You can power the AC by the high voltage battery or by plugging it in. It doesn't seem like, I mean, here's the thing. If you just keep the van on, then the gasoline engine will be able to provide energy too, as well, to provide power for the air conditioning. So they're just, I mean, how this is saying it's like electric stationary conditioning, air conditioning, not including power generation from the gasoline engine. So it can be done with both, of course. But the vehicle's air conditioned for approximately 30 minutes when the car is plugged in. Now, when it's not plugged in, the air conditioning switches off after 10 minutes. It's not very, very long, all right? I think most people will probably use a gasoline engine when necessary to run the air conditioning if they really, really need it. And the Multivan in California will be built together with the electric ID.Buzz, which we do get in America. This will be built at the Hanover plant. So it's just unfortunate, you know, Volkswagen doesn't give us this as an alternative to the ID.Buzz. ID.Buzz is cute. It's unique. It's got a lot of nostalgia packed in and a lot of unique character. Not as much character here, but far more practicality. And that's what minivans are all about. Practicality. We won't get it here. So cool on them. And, you know, I'll just keep hoping and wishing one day we'll get an all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid minivan in the United States. I'll see you guys down below. Let me know what you think about this sort of minivan. Almost perfect. The only thing I can dog on it for is, well, maybe two things. It's not available here, number one. And number two, the 6-speed DCT not being just as simple and as lightweight and as affordable and reliable as like a power split device eCVT that we have in a lot of hybrids in America. But thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Long live the minivan. Peace out.